Hello everyone, it's me, Simon Wesley again, and yeah, we're just gonna be finishing up on... Yeah, we're gonna be finishing up the first part of Fire and Blood in Tsukihime. Yeah, this is probably gonna be a shorter stream because I just want to finish this chapter up. Yeah, I just want to finish up this chapter, and I think... Yeah, I think this is where the route split is, and with the previous choices, I'm currently on Arcuade's route. Can't be entirely certain, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Anyway. Yeah, I should go outside and investigate, because I don't want to have to zoom through this entire chapter again because I forgot to save. I take a short, deep breath to clear my head. I search for something I could use as a weapon, but a quick survey of the room doesn't give me anything. I swallow my hesitation, take my knife from my bag, and head for the door. Arcuade looks like she wants to say something, but I tear my gaze away and head into the hallway. It's dark. I guess the lights must have malfunctioned. The only light I see is a faraway glow from the elevator hall. My throat burns more now. The very air is thick and scraping against me like sandpaper. The silence of the hallway is unsettling. You can hear a pin drop. There isn't a single sign of life. No censored running in terror. No burnt... I'm guessing that censor's word is vampire. Or no, not vampire, corpse. Wait, why is it even... Is that a stylistic thing, or... I mean, this is like an M-rated game, so I don't see why they would need to censor it. The utter silence is making me question what I saw on the monitor just now. I walk through the hallway. Sweat forms into beads and runs down my forehead. It's so quiet. I'm starting to feel that I'm the intruder here. Intruder, intruder, intruder. Normally you'd exterminate any pests that intrude a place like this. It's all I can do to calm myself down. I readjust my grip on the knife so the sweat doesn't make it slip from my palm. I feel nauseous. There's pressure near my temples. Somewhere between my eyes and my brain, my nerves experience a strange pull. It's as if my eyes are trying to crawl into my brain cavity. Hey, Joe. Good to have you here. Or maybe my brain's trying to swallow my eyes. I bite back against the dull, aching pain as I traverse through the heat wave blasting me from all sides. My eyes grow heavy. My eyelids feel like they're gaining mass. My body sways. I might just pass out. I know the feeling well. It's how I feel just before I collapse from anemia. Hurts. The pain is so unbearable I have to take off my glasses. I look in the direction of the elevators. This corridor is so long. It's got to be more than 20 meters to the elevators from here. Too far, I tell myself. Go back to the room. What is this? A few more steps and there will be no more going back. A clear sound. The gentle chime of the elevator shatters the silence, as if to herald the destruction of this pure, empty space devoid of life. A foreboding chill stops me in my tracks. My eyes are pulled towards the unwanted intrusion. Small elevator light stops. It has arrived at its destination. I can see the line stretching across the elevator door in the distance. Though, shrouded by so many, a dense web of them, I can barely see the door. The door's open. I peer inside the cramped metal box. The inside is overflowing with flesh. The flesh of things that were alive until a moment ago. Oh. My breathing ceases. Just like my brain refuses to process the things I'm seeing, so do my lungs abandon their duty. I stare at the scene within the elevator. The thick chunks of red meat are packed tight as they can be within the metal box. Oh! My vision turns red with a nauseating squelching noise, a gelatinous mat. Ugh! See a blood, carcass, bone, oh! Full of carnage only houses 2 living residents, the dogs. The rational part of my brain refuses to accept this scene as reality. At the end of the hallway, the dogs are still digging into the mutilated cadavers. Terrible new sounds travel up through the elevator shaft. Discordant screams spill into the hallway. If I strain my ears, I can just make out the sounds of flesh being gnawed on, intermingled with the shrieks of despair so anguished they hardly sound human. It feels like my hearing has found a shortcut to my imagination. Even though I can't see it with my eyes, the carnage is all too clear in my mind's eye. People being burned alive, people being... A man notices the unusual temperature and leaves his room to flee. The second he opens the door, he's enveloped by a fire that roasts him to the bone. There are 2 types of screams, those born from the fear of being eaten and those born from the fear of being burned alive. There are no exceptions. The small elevator is a microcosm of what the hotel has become. This vision of hell is so close I can feel the agony flush against my skin. I want to throw up, but I can't. If I did, I would become a part of this horrid ocean of death. Force my body to remember how to breathe. Yeah, I think the whole hotel is on fire. And being swarmed by familiars. I grind my teeth together to regain a sense of control. The dogs notice me. As soon as they do, all sound from the floors below stops. That can mean only one thing. No one else is alive. The dogs break into a sprint towards me. I'm the only prey left within their hunting grounds. Black hounds approach me. Their bodies are marked with countless lines, but they're no use to me now. My mind is too paralyzed to do anything. I can't even decide whether to fight or flee. One of the dogs leaps. No human could even come close to matching it in speed. It covers the 20 meters of the hallway in less than 2 seconds. Its maw opens wide. Sharp, saw-like teeth reach for my throat. The dog's movements are fast and deadly efficient. The second my mind manages to process that it is leaping at me, the beast closes its fangs around my neck with a terrible gnashing sound. This is where Shikitono dies. No, that isn't right. This won't kill me. I won't die here. Seeing death isn't new to me. It was a hot summer day. It feels so long ago, yet it was merely 7 years. Back then, I witnessed something far more horrifying. Stab. I thrust my knife into the forehead of the dog that tried to gnaw at my throat. As if on autopilot, my arm swung up the second the monster's canines touched my skin before it could pierce my carotid artery. I surprised even myself. Like a machine whose only function is cutting and slicing, I thread the knife through the dog's forehead with mechanical precision. It comes easy, as I'm merely cutting through one of the dog's lines. Normally, destroying an animal's brain wouldn't cause its body to cease functioning immediately. The muscles will move and spasm in response to the brain's final signals, carrying out their last commands to the best of their ability. Even as I tore my blade straight through the dog's head, its fangs would still tear through my neck. This is different. I didn't just kill the dog, I brought it death. Death means total cessation. No matter how monstrous the dog was, it lost every ounce of power the second I killed it. It falls limply to the ground. The second dog is already lunging toward me in its place. Stab the knife into its wide open jaw. My blade buries into its wet flesh. The skin of the dog may be oddly tough, but its insides are soft and yielding, its flesh and bone having long rotted. But I messed up this time. This dog's lines aren't on its head, they're all congregated around its chest. I might have managed to stab it, but the damage done is a little more than a flesh wound. The knife has pierced the dog's maw, reaching the back of its head, which naturally means that the hand holding the knife is now fully enveloped by the creature's mouth. The dog is still very much alive. Clamps its jaws shut around my outstretched arm. I feel the strain as it pulls against the soft cartilage between my hand and wrist. Any moment now will tear straight through the flesh. The pain is enough to snap me back to reality. This hurt. Yeah, getting bitten by a zombie dog would probably hurt. What am I doing? Getting my arm torn to shreds just to stick a knife into a dog's mouth? I struggle and squirm, trying to wrench my arm out of its vice-like grip. As something gnashes at my arm, intense pain shoots up through my nerves like a firework. Its teeth feel like they're stuck deep within my arm. It's awfully lively for something with a knife in its skull. The dog presses its weight against me, toppling both of us and pinning me down against the carpet. My back is driven hard against the floor, but even now its grip on my arm hasn't loosened one bit. My knife still plunged deep inside its head. Black Dog tightened its jaw further. It's going to rip off my arm. This is insane. What kind of dog can bite me down in a situation like this? A zombie dog? Something warm and wet drips down to my elbow. Red blood is dribbling from the dog's frenzied, quivering lips. It might be the dog's blood trickling down my arm from the knife. Or it might be my blood, flowing freely as the dog tries to rend my arm into mincemeat. My scrambled brain, it doesn't matter much. The dog refuses to release its prize. There's no way I can run away with the dog still clinging to my arm. Yeah, it's the goodest boy, Shiki. Not that running away was ever an option to begin with. Yeah, it's a pretty dog. He just needs to be given a bath and a few head pats. Not that running away was ever an option to begin with. Nor did I have any intention of doing so. I just want to survive. In order to survive, there was only ever one condition. All I have to do is kill. But how do I do that? It won't be long till one of my arms gets chewed off. That arm is still gripping the knife. The full weight of the dog has me trapped against the carpet. Even if I manage to pull my arm free, chances are the dog would have its jaws around my neck the very next second. The desperate circumstances force a weak chuckle to escape my lips. I just need some time to assess the situation, some time to really think it through. That's how I've always done things. That's how I was taught. Like, look, see how there are plenty of lines running along the back of the dog's head? The path to survival is blindingly clear. This is a wild beast, a monster that devours humans. When it's this close to me, I'm painfully aware of its wildly beating heart, burning with its own desire to live. Clamps down on my arm even harder than before. Such an idiot. So stupid. I wish it was me tearing my own throat out. It's kill or be killed, a natural, universal law. So why? Why does the supposed cruelty of the action give me so much pause? A thick drop of blood splashes against my face. The red fluid drips down my forehead and into my eyes. My vision is painted a deep, dark crimson. It burns itself into my retinas until red is all I can see. The warm, viscous liquid strikes me as oddly familiar. The consciousness slowly slips from me. Even so, you can't kill something that's alive. Crit. You've already killed something much bigger than some mutt. Whoa! Um... Great, that's another thing I'm gonna have to blur out once I'm done with this or once I'm done with the stream. It was the CG I've been trying to hide. Or that I've been trying to keep from showing up on stream. Suddenly flashed up while Shiki was getting mauled by a dog. Ah, that's right. But that time was different. The arcade, Shiki Tono wasn't thinking clearly at all. Even when I killed that big dog, it was as if my body moved on its own, without my input. This time it requires me to make a conscious decision. Didn't Master tell you, Shiki, to use this power for yourself and not for anyone else? That's why. As long as I stay who I am, as long as I remain a decent human being, I'll never take any life for granted. Hypocrite. You've done it all before long ago. Ah. Bad dream from my childhood. Look what's holding you back now. It was a hot summer day. It's kill or be killed. Before me is the figure of a young boy drenched in blood. My hands are stained with warm red blood. Killed before, haven't you? Okay. I stab. Rather than extract my arm, I instead bury it deeper as I slice through the beast's skull. A pained shriek echoes in my eardrums, unable to cry out properly with my arm jammed down its throat. The dog's wail resembles a woman's shrill scream. It must be in tremendous pain. Not that it matters. I drive the knife deeper inside, together with my mangled arm. The blade pokes out from the back of the dog's skull. It splits its skull and effortlessly sliced through its hide, scattering globs of blood and brains across the carpet. Before I know it, I've thrust both my knife and my arm cleanly through the back of the dog's skull. And yet, it still lives. There's only one thing left for me to do. I take the knife from my bloodied right hand and move it to my left. The impaled dog's body trembles and squirms, seemingly pleading for mercy. It even stops digging its fangs into my flesh as if to show remorse. Like I care. I run my blade along the beast's lines and quickly dismantle its body. This is so much more visceral than Mihoyo. Like, oh, this is brutal. I look down on that which was once filled with life. The limp body no longer protests as I finally remove my arm from its maw. I take a long look at my bloodied arm. My school uniform has been torn to shreds, but the gouges in my flesh aren't even a centimeter deep. The deluge of blood dripping down my arm earlier must have belonged to the dog. It doesn't even hurt that badly anymore. My fear must have clouded my mind and amplified the pain and the heat of the moment. I'm still lying down on the floor, staring at the ceiling. My head hurts so much. The world is a patchwork stitched together by these lines of death. Though my limbs are freezing cold, my mind is spinning with a fever. Corpses of the two dogs are right beside me. One of my arms is covered in blood, while the other still clutches the reddened knife. Beneath this door are the mangled and charred corpses of the victims that died in the pandemonium. There's nothing I can do but laugh, because this isn't real. It can't possibly be real. I'm normal. Totally normal. The only weird thing here is this dream. The second I wake up, it'll all go away. When did I start dreaming with my eyes open? Uh-oh. The elevator chimes. Such a cute, clear noise, entirely inappropriate for the situation. It's the elevator adjacent to the one that brought the dogs. My exhausted brain doesn't even try to contemplate what this means. The door's open. My mind might not be working, but my body will have to. In a dull haze, I grip the knife in my right hand and haul myself up to face the oncoming tragedy. I don't want to do this. I wearily gaze inside the newly arrived elevator. Inside it is... It's completely empty. A bit of an anticlimax in its own way. The danger's past. Everything's over, and I've already gotten a grasp of the situation on the lower floors, which means there's no reason for me to stick around here. I turn to leave when I hear a woman's voice. She sounds so desperate, it almost seems out of touch with reality. Her pleading screams grow in volume, accompanied by panicked footfalls. There's no mistaking it. It must be a survivor, out of breath as she frantically works her way up the stairwell next to the elevators. She sounds relieved, but she doesn't slow her pace. Within moments, I could see her spilling from the stairway and into the hallway. She starts running again as she takes note of me. Her expression, overcast and pale with fear, is lit up by a flash of joy as her eyes focus on me. A white-gloved hand seizes her, ripping her from salvation and back into... Still watching me, the woman begs for help. And then she falls silent. No resistance, no constraints that bind her. The second she's grabbed, she loses consciousness as if this were a dream and she was snapped awake, leaving only her body behind. Stop. Stop this at once. That woman. She has nothing to do with this. Just a sweet and innocent girl. Preying on her is... My cries come too late. Not that they would have changed anything. My eyes are fixated on the woman's neck. Starry orbs of light flicker and scatter within my vision. Rage like never before boils in my chest. My vision clears and I see two soulless pits amid a deluge of blood. The woman's legs twitch ever so slightly, her fingers jolting reflexively. All motion, all life drains from her face. It has to be the first time I've seen it happen, but I don't need to be familiar with the sight to comprehend the horrific spectacle in front of me. The drinking and gulping of the monster is almost unnaturally loud against the otherwise silent hallway. When it's had its fill, the monster discards her body without a second thought. Her body wavers, frail like a withered tree, a ballerina tiptoeing the fine line between life and death. I gaze at her pitiful form. The woman is totally silent. The only sound is that of rushing blood. Then her back splits open. In a single moment, a fountain of blood erupts. The vampire sighs in relief as he bathes in the scarlet... In an instant, everything around me changes. The sweltering temperature finally seems to match up with reality. The dam of fire bursts, flooding out all at once. The hallway's absolutely enveloped by flames. The heat presses against me, singeing and stinging at my skin like claws. If I were to take a breath now, I'd surely burn my lungs. Something is strange here. The flames continue licking at their surroundings, and yet the building isn't on fire. As the only thing still alive here, I'm the only one left to feel this inferno. My headache intensifies. The man begins walking my way. It's clear he's the source of this river of flames. The closer it gets, the more terrible the heat becomes. He's still 15 meters away from me, but even at this distance, it's impossible for me to breathe. I realize that nothing could survive in this man's vicinity. Proximity alone would lead to certain incineration. The shadow continues towards it. Shadow continues onward in my direction. He's lean and tall, wearing antiquated clothes, topped by a heavy fur cloak. Though his figure may be human-like, everything about him screams that he's anything but. There's something off about him, something wild and crazed. Only 13 meters now. He continues without a sound. I glare at the man, knife firmly in hand. He doesn't respond. I'm starting to wonder if he can even see me. 10 meters. I train my eyes on his body. Amid the rising flames, I can finally see the lines of death that cover him. My brain feels like soup boiling over in an open flame. What is that? A dense and intricate torrent of death swirls at the center of it all. At the core, and at the center of is an odd glimmer, bright and shiny like a precious jewel. My head hurts too much to keep staring at it. It's like how staring straight into the sun will burn your retinas. There's no way I can directly stare at his core for too long. If I don't steel myself, my brain itself might rupture at the sight of it. 8 meters. He draws ever closer. The temperature rises, though not enough to cook through human flesh yet. 6 meters. The man stops. His focus falls on me. It took him this long to notice me standing here. I meet his gaze. Shouldn't make eye contact. Arcuade's words of warning ring clearly in my ears. I can't tear my eyes away. Can't ignore the abyss before me. It's different. His eyes can't be the mystic eyes Arcuade was talking about. They're entirely, fundamentally different. They aren't eyes that bind the viewer. They're just filled with madness. The eyes of one who has lost his mind, a madman, a poor, hapless man driven crazy by his own impulses, a man just like me. My instincts scream at me to get out of danger. Every alarm in my body tells me this is bad news, but my body won't move, not even as much as a single fingertip. Danger signals fire through my synapses. No matter the cost, I have to get away from him. If I don't, it'll be the end for me. Too late. The creature with sickly eyes stares at me, but barely pays me any notice. From its outstretched hand unfolds a fire that'll burn me alive. I'm going to die. This fire is as real as it is terrifying. Different from the blue flames that flooded the hall, they were some sort of byproduct in effect to his cause. They could swallow you alive, but you wouldn't die immediately. They'd scorch you with some awful phantom pain that feeds off life itself. These flames are different. Just getting close is enough to char the skin, enough to burn all organic matter to ashes. Fire engulfs me from all sides like a claw seizing its prey. It will cleave my body in two, neatly cauterizing the flesh where it is ripped apart. The only thing more real than this fire is my fate. Yet, just before I die, my body is flung backwards with a snap. Arcuade! The name creaks from my throat. My mind goes blank. I have a rough understanding of what just transpired. Arcuade pulled me back before stepping in front of me to absorb the blow from that sinister, fiery hand. What I don't understand is why she did it. Wasn't I supposed to be her shield? So why is she getting hurt to protect me instead? Arcuade's face scrunches up in pain. The man hits her with the flaming claw again and again. But this time, she doesn't have to pull me out of the fire's way. Arcuade swings her right hand like she did in the alley, batting the flames away. Yeah, Arcuade is absolute. I love her. She's great. Arcuade is immediately best girl. But she's unable to extinguish the flames entirely, and the lingering embers strike her head on. Does that mean even Arcuade could be burned if she took the full brunt of these flames? Are they hot enough to kill even her? This woman with barely any lines on her, who's supposed to be so far removed from death. The entire clash lasts less than 5 seconds. The two exchange a dozen blows each way. I don't understand why, but when they're done, the man solemnly lowers his arm. He stares at Arcuade intently, not saying a single word. Arcuade glares back bitterly as he clutches at her red abdomen. The man has eyes for nothing but Arcuade. He doesn't even care that I'm here, safe behind Arcuade's protected figure, clutching a knife. Vapor slips from the man's lips. His breath is heavy, like it's being pushed through an exhaust pipe as he reaches with his left hand to find something beneath his coat. I hear a faint, metallic clink. It's got to be some kind of blade. He's hiding a long object beneath his coat. Same object he used to rend through the back of that woman and turn her into a fountain of blood. He takes one step closer to Arcuade. His weapon is still carefully concealed beneath his coat.
最低限の言葉も教えぬ型なしだったのか。
Man stops in his tracks. A light flickers behind his hollow eyes as if he's only just remembering himself. I don't even know what language Arcade used, but the man clears his throat, composing himself. His voice carries a current of pain, like he had forgotten he were a living being until just now.
礼儀はなっていないけど、恥だけは足りているようね。元の名前は失った。でも呼び名ぐらいはあるでしょ。継いだばかりのようだけど、仮にもその一角なんだから。
The atmosphere in the hall shifts. The azure flames well up all around the corridor, burning ever brighter. Looks like Arcade hit a sore spot. Pained expression paints his face. He declares his name.
知らない名前。私が記録していない以上、正当な後継者とも思えない。もしかして親は自滅？
そうではない。ご当主は俺が仕留めた。
なったばかりの祖ってこと。じゃあ次は私を殺して箔をつけたい？
名誉は己の胸にあるものだ。俺が欲しいものしか奪わない。
心構えは立派だけど、それなら私だけに絞りなさい。これはちょっとやりすぎよ。
いや、この都市は汚れている。焼き尽くさなければ俺の心情にも劣る。
あっそう。つまり蛮族同然の三流使徒だったわけ。
粗野であることは自覚している。神祖の姫、その心臓を俺によこせ。
The area around Vlav twists with the simmering heat. Like a river bursting through its banks, the fire rushes in our direction. Arcade stands in front of me like a breakwater, holding back the flood from swallowing me whole.
動かないで式。この炎があいつの武器。消し済みになりたくなかったら、私の後ろから離れないで。
I appreciate her warning, but something about her words strikes me as odd. This is his weapon? Is she really sure about that? I mean, after creating these high temperatures, he's still... No, this isn't the time to think about that. Focusing, I tightly grip the knife in my hand. He's coming. The hallway is now a cavern of flame. Vlav pulls the blade from his coat. And he just leaves. For some strange reason, Vlav suddenly turns his back towards us. He strides down the hall and leisurely enters the elevator, leaving us behind as if nothing had happened. Okay, now I officially don't understand a thing. I don't understand those dogs, I don't understand the flames that covered the hallway, and I don't understand the waking nightmare that attacked the hotel. Arcade! Arcade slumps against me with a thud. She's got a nasty wound. It looks like she managed to stop the bleeding, but her face is contorted in pain. It's still fresh. After all, she only just received the wound while she was shielding me from certain death.
ちょっと甘く見てた。あれくらいならシキを助けて、私も軽くかわせると思ったんだけど。さすがだね、シキ。シキにやられた傷、そんなに甘くなかったみたい。
With her face still scrunched up in pain, Arcade smiles as if she were amused by her own words. I can't bear to look at her. Not only did she suffer this wound while protecting me, I'm the reason she's this weak in the first place. So why is she still smiling at me so stupidly? How am I even supposed to respond? Arcade leans against me, putting her weight on my shoulder as she closes her eyes. Arcade collapses against me. I managed to catch her just in time, arms wrapped tight around her slender body. If you die on me here, I'll really have no idea how to respond. Shout at her, shivering. Her eyes remained closed. When... Her soft snoring sounds so content. I'm starting to feel like an idiot for being worried about her at all. Yeah, my concern was wasted on her. She's not dying, she just fell asleep. It's not like there's any other options, though. We can't exactly stay at the hotel when it's like this. Things will get difficult if we stick around the scene of a massacre. Despite everything being limited to just the hotel, as morning comes and people arrive, it'll quickly be clear what happened. My head still hurts. Arcade isn't the only one who's at her limit. I put my glasses back on to at least alleviate my headache. I just realized, how's he going to explain any of this to Akia? Even though I've only visited once, I still vividly recall the location. Well, no point loitering here any longer. I gather up our things from the royal suite, pull Arcade into my arms, and leave the barren hotel with a feeling of shame pressing down on my shoulders. Yeah, this is so much more brutal than Mihoyo. Like, there was some blood, man, and violence in Mihoyo, but this, like, I didn't expect Tsukihime to be this brutal. It's already light outside. Oh yeah, he realized that it was morning, and that if he stays here any longer, it doesn't matter if he got Arcade's heart, he'd just burn to death in the sun. That explains why the man left so suddenly. The sun illuminates the city with its gentle light. Night has given way to day. For now, I should just focus on getting Arcade the rest she needs. Taking a taxi is out of the question. Stand out. A pair of this suspicious got into your car and you definitely remember their faces. Instead, I carry Arcade as far from the hotel as I can before boarding a bus bound for Soya Station. We're lucky. Given the early hour, there are no witnesses or curious onlookers to point their gaze at us. The emergency exit around the back is exactly like I left it 2 days ago. Neither the residents nor the building's caretakers must have noticed that the lock was broken. It's 6:30 in the morning now. Sneak into the self-proclaimed vampire's room just like I did the last time. Finally, this long mess of a day can be laid to rest. Okay, I know I said that we were only gonna finish that chapter, but I kind of want to go a little further. Not too much further, but just a little bit, because this game is way more brutal than I expected. Like, way more brutal and bloodier than I thought it was going to be. Like, I already knew it was going to be violent, but I didn't expect this. But I'm hooked. This game is so good. Arcade's room doesn't exactly scream vampire. I wasn't in a right state of mind last time, so I didn't get a good look, but it's just a normal apartment. There isn't a bottle of blood in sight. No mysterious sculptures or antiques either.
冷蔵庫に食器まで完備してるし、何なんだろうな、こいつ。
I muttered to myself as I lay her down on the bed sheets. Arcade might be light, but that doesn't make it any less exhausting to have carried her all the way here. Yeah, this is insanely good. Yeah, I'm loving it so far. This is so good. I plant myself right there on the floor and catch my breath. It's just about 7 o'clock.
そっか。カーテン。
I forced one last ounce of strength into my tired bones and shut the curtains. And with that, my body finally releases the tension it had been holding on to all this time. As I try to sit back down, my knees give out and send me crashing down onto the floor.
情けない。女の子一人運んだだけで、これか。
Yeah, I know that Arcade's probably only about 100 to 110 pounds, but yeah, carrying that kind of dead weight around for as long as Shiki probably had to, that's gonna wear you out. Ever since my accident, my body's been slow to heal from injuries, though that was never cause for me to shy away from working out. The Arimas had a dojo, so I always made sure to exercise as much as I could. Even a common cold can be dangerous if you don't take care of yourself. But since I've kept active, I'd say I'm about as fit as anyone. It's just my stamina that's awful. Like an athlete geared for a single sport, I'm a sprinter that isn't going to be winning any marathons. Now that I'm lying on the ground, there's no way I'm getting up again. I spent the entire night talking to Arcade. It's been a full day since I had anything decent to eat. It's kind of amazing that I've managed to hold out this long, frankly. But yeah, Sho, if you have a Switch, you can get Tsukihime for about $40. Oh, and I heard that they have release Fate Stay Night on Steam. I only know a little bit about it from like FGO and from one of the anime. So I might check that out at after I finish Tsukihime. Steal a glance at the girl on the bed. Her abdomen seems to have stopped bleeding, and if she can come back to life after being dismembered, I'm not really sure I need to be worried in the first place. My head throbs like I have a fever. I'm so tired. I can barely breathe, yet here I am, more worried about her than about myself. Maybe I really am coming down with something. You know what? That is entirely fair. Hmm? Yeah, that is entirely fair. I've been meaning to get Sparking Zero too. Partly because I could probably get away from me and my older brother to play it together. My older brother doesn't really care for anime or anything like that. But the one anime that both of us like is Dragon Ball. And we both used to play the crap out of those old Dragon Ball games. Besides, it looks pretty good.
寝ちゃったのか俺。
Actually, that you saying that reminds me that I need to keep playing Space Marine, or Space Marine 2. Actually, once I beat it, I might do a few streams on it, and a few streams on the original Space Marine. That way, I could have. That way, I could have like half an excuse to go off on about 40k lore for a few hours. Guess I was tired enough to pass up. Actually, yeah, that'd be pretty fun. I played one of the co-op missions with a couple friends, and man, I hate zoanthropes. I hate zoanthropes so much. They are incredibly annoying. Guess I was tired enough to pass out right here on the floor. Looks like someone opened the curtains and covered me with a blanket while I was still snoozing. That would be Arcade. I'd wait sure it's past noon by now. The TV's switched on, playing the same old news in the background. I look to the bed, but I don't see Arcade. Yeah, because she's the one who opened the curtains and put a blanket on you, silly.
あいつ
I prop myself up to get a better look around. There's a hint of movement coming from the kitchen in the next room.
あんな体のくせに何動き回ってるんだ。
I shrug off the blanket as I lurch to my feet. I'd better head to the kitchen and check on her wounds.
次のニュースです。本日未明、倉見橋ドームホテルで火災が発生しました。内部からの火災警報はなく、午前6時、業務に戻ったスタッフがホテル内の異常を発見し、警察に通報。現在、消防署と連携を取りながら、ホテル内の消火作業を続けている模様です。
I freeze in place. My gaze is drawn back to the newscast.
ホテルに宿泊していた200名の安否は未だ確認されておりません。現在、消火作業は急ピッチで進められていますが、未だホテル内から要救助者は1名も発見されず。
The news anchor continues droning on about the details in a detached voice. A list of 200 names scrolls across a photo of the hotel we stayed at last night. Neither Arcade's nor my name is listed.
また、警察の調べによると、ホテル内のトイレが一部破損していることから、通常
I turn off the TV. 200 guests remain unaccounted for. They have yet to find any survivors. If they already know what they know, why hold out on telling everyone the truth? And every last person in the hotel was engulfed by those insane flames and burnt to a crisp, leaving nothing behind. I resist the urge to hurl. I can't, not here, not now. Simply feeling sick would make me no better than swine. After coming out of that alive, the only thing I should let myself feel is hatred. 200 people of whom not a trace remains, who were massacred without a shred of sympathy or mercy. His face flares vividly in my mind. I don't know who he is. All I know is that he's the monster behind the carnage. My heart numb from all the things I saw. Fear still courses through my veins, anger too, coiling around like a snake. Yet my thoughts remain cool and collected. It's like my brain and my heart are working on two different frequencies. Just thinking about that fur-clad man makes me want to rage, yet my fingertips tingle with alertness, primed for action. I don't need emotions to know what to do. I don't need fire or heat or passion. All I need to do is cleanly cut through his lines.
気がついたの、シキ。
Arcade! Ah, she's pretty. I like her. Arcade pokes her head out from the kitchen.
怖い顔しちゃって何かあった？
Arcade talks to me casually, like nothing happened.
いや別にそのおはよう。
おはよう。朝の挨拶をするなんて珍しい経験ね。
Her sweet smile takes me by surprise, and I need to swallow hard to even to even out my breathing. The cold thoughts of vengeance that clogged my mind melt like snow before the sun. What am I even thinking about? Get together, Shiki. The whole reason you got up in the first place was to check on Arcade.
傷はいいのか？
傷？ええ、とりあえず問題ないわ。
Arcade seems to be just fine. It looks like she's back to the way she was before. If anything, she's definitely looking better than I'm feeling right now.
そうか。それならよかった。
At least the person in my immediate vicinity is safe. Yeah, she got a charisma boost. She got a charisma buff today. What am I talking about? Arcade isn't even a person, at least not in the usual sense. How did I forget that? I must still be half
でも
asleep.
まあ、いいことには変わりはないよな。お前の傷、大したことじゃなかったんだから。
へえ、どうしたのよ、シキ。ちょっと前までは私のこと化け物呼ばわりしてたくせに。
あのな、ちょっと前までじゃなくて、今でもそう思ってる。
助けた。
Huh? Arcade's eyes are filled with surprise. Did she not even realize that she rescued me?
お前は俺を助けてくれたんだよ。だから、今更だけど、かばってくれてありがとう。お前に引っ張られなかったら、俺も焼け死んでいたところだ。
ありがとうって。別にいいよ、そんなこと考えなくて。シキがブローブと出会った原因は私にあるんだし、シキに感謝される資格はないもの。
助けられたのも事実だろう。アルクエイドは俺をかばってくれた。その点だけは本当に感謝してる。
Okay, I love how it's managing to go from something as horrifying and brutal as the face-off with Vlav last chapter to something as just normal and cheerful as this.
確かに事実だけ見ればそうだけど、やっぱりそれは違うよ、シキ。見張り役を引き受けなければあなたはあんな目には合わなかった。シキの生活に毒を混ぜたのは私よ。あなたは私を憎みこそすれ、感謝するのは間違ってるんじゃない？
She's an incredibly sweet girl. Arcade has gotten weirdly caught up on this.
間違ってないよ。自分の行動は自分で責任を持つしかない。ずっと昔にそういうことを教えてくれた人がいたんだ。周りがどうあれ、自分が望んでやったことは自分の手で決着をつけなさいって。
Which is why I don't hold the slightest grudge against her over the whole guard thing either. If there's anyone to blame for getting me into this mess, it's myself.
そっか。言われてみれば盾が必要になったのはシキが私を殺したからだものね。ならあなたを巻き込んだことについて私が謝る必要はないってこと？
ああ、そういうこと。自業自得なんだよ。
自業自得か。うん。シキってば初めから運が悪かったのね。人を殺すにしたって私以外の子にしておけばこんなことにはならなかっただろうし。
You'd gone and killed any. She's confused, but she's confused, but she's got the spirit. That's assuming I would have killed someone else at all. It's not like I make a habit of stalking people down the street and murdering them. Arcade was the first and only person for whom I ever felt that uncontrollable urge to kill. And I have a feeling I wouldn't just keep that for anyone else.
Oh.
Or would...
何？
いや、忘れ物というか、なんていうか。考えてみれば、どうして俺はお前を殺そうなんて思ったんだろう。
Arcade knits her brows in disapproval. A fair reaction. You wouldn't want to hear that your murderer doesn't even know why they killed you.
理由なんてないんじゃない？だってシキは根っからの殺人鬼なんだから。
は？
私を襲った時なんてすごく手慣れていたものね。チャイムを押して扉が開いた瞬間に手を差し込んできて有無を言わさず中に押し入る。こっちが驚いている間に狙撃で生命活動を停止させて あとはザックザクに切り裂いてバラバラにする。あの不意打ちは完璧だった。どのくらい完璧だったかっていうと、あの時の式をそのままキャンバスに閉じ込めればそれ以上はないほどの絵になるぐらい完璧だった。私がまだ正常なままだったらお城に持ち帰って飾ってあげたいぐらい。
Arcade excitedly rattles off a litany of bizarre praise, but there's just one issue.
けど今回は殺した相手が悪かったわね。
She legit thinks that Shiki is a serial killer. I mean, I don't exactly blame her for thinking that, given, again, in her own words, he had basically the perfect ambush. Oh, wait.
シキが今まで何人殺してきたかは知らないけど、獲物に私を選んだ時点で年貢の納め時だったんじゃない？何よ、さっきから怖い顔して。言いたいことがあるならはっきり言えばいいのに。私とあなたの間で今さら我慢することなんてないでしょ？
How right she is. I nod and beckon her to come closer.
何？内緒話？
Arkue closes the gap between us quickly, our eyes sparkling with anticipation. I bring my lips to her ear and decide to say my piece.
あのな、アルクエイド。
何？
One,
そ
two.
んなわけないだろ、このバカ女
Wait a second. My voice echoes throughout the apartment. I blasted Arcue's eardrums with all the volume I could muster. Arcue groans as she makes a big show of clutching her ear.
もう、あったまきた。突然何するのよ、シキ。
怒りたいのはこっちの方だ。なんか微妙にめちゃくちゃな注文してきやがるかと思えば、お前、そういうことだったのか。
え？そういうことって何？
俺をイカれた殺人鬼だと思い込んで、化け物相手に盾になれとか見張りをやれとか、無茶な注文をしてきたことだよ。
I mean, do you really blame her for thinking that, Shiki? I mean, given how casually you killed her, like, I mean, I know that you were in probably some kind of weird psycho state, but from her perspective, you're just some insane serial killer.
ああ、もう、とんでもない勘違いをしやがって。いいか、この際言っておくけど、俺は殺人鬼でも殺人狂でもない。人を殺すなんて、お前が初めてだったんだから。
My confession must have come as quite the surprise. Her sheer shock makes me finally realize how extraordinary it was that I murdered her.
嘘。あんなに手慣れてて、あれが初めてだったっていうの、シキ。
そうだよ。こんなおかしな目を持ってるけど、俺だってそれなりにできるだけ真面目に生きてきたんだ。この線を使って人を殺したいなんて思ったことは一度もない。
ふん。それじゃあどうして見ず知らずの私を殺したりしたのよ。
That's a question Shiki had been asking himself all day.
だからそれが
I'm about to tell her I don't know, but but pause as I realize just what a coward I am.
あの時お前と街ですれ違った途端吐きそうなぐらい気になって。
From the second I saw her, I could only think of her snow white form. I couldn't stop the welling up beneath my skin, nor the vulgar grin that crept across my face as I chased her down. Another bit to censor. I know I saw some pretty nasty. I know some of the CGs during the Blob fight were pretty gruesome, but I don't know if I want a straight up Mortal Kombat style fatality just hovering around on stream. So I came here. And before I even realized it, I'd already, right here in this room, without any rhyme or reason, I chopped up the beautiful figure and stood in the puddle of her bloody remains. Oh. Strength evaporates from my body. No longer able to stand, I drop to my knees. Of course, I don't have any right to be angry with Arcuade. Even if she's alive now, and even if she was never human to begin with, the fact remains that I killed her with my own 2 hands. What's with you going all silent on me again? What do you realize? Yeah, I'm genuinely surprised at the multiple times they bring that CG up. I've been using how weird this all is to avoid doing something incredibly important.
ごめん。ごめんな。アルクエイド。俺は君をここで殺した。俺は何よりそのことを。
No wonder Arcuate thought I was just some cold-blooded killer. Without showing any guilt or remorse, I've been acting like I was the victim. Not just that, even now I still don't know why.
殺したのは事実なんだ。だから、俺は罰を受けないといけない。
What I did was beyond evil. A person who decides to take a life without reason doesn't deserve to walk free.
そう、シキは本当に自分でも理由がわからないのね。
I do like that Shiki's actually I do appreciate that Shiki's actually like finally getting that he kinda deserves this for killing Arcuade. Character development. I know, it's still hanging in my
つ
head.
まり楽しいとも感じなかったってことでしょ。うん。確かに殺人鬼の中には息をするみたいに人を殺すやつもいるけど、シキは普段はまともっぽいよね。
そうだな。一応そのつもりだけど。
いいえ、まっとうすぎるぐらいまともよ。あなたは。
Is that how you spell that?
それで殺したくなったのは私だけなの？
ああ。アルクエド以外にはそんな気持ちにはならなかった。
なんだ、なら問題ないじゃない。ほら、顔を上げてシキ。あなたは殺人鬼なんかじゃないよ。
I lift my head as if I've been forgiven. Arcuate is smiling, brimming with such confidence and trust that it startles me. I killed her, but she believes in me more than I believe in myself. Arcuate she is an angel.
それに何の罰も受けなくていいと思う。たまたまシキが殺したいって思った相手が私で、厄介なことにシキにはこれ以上ない殺人技巧が備わっていた。けど都合のいいことに私が吸血鬼だったんだから、誰も死んでないでしょ。だからシキがそんなに悩む必要はないよ。人間たちの社会の道徳も気にしなくていいと思う。人間にあなたは弾劾できない。だって今のところ世界でシキを責めていいのは被害者である私と当事者であるシキ本人だけなんだから。
それはそうだけど、お前を殺したっていう事実だけは決して変わらないじゃないか。
Even if what Arcuate said is true, even if there's no proof that any crime occurred, I'm still going to carry this sin with me forever.
それは当然よ。私だってまだ根に持ってるんだから、そう簡単に忘れられちゃ困るわ。だけどねシキ、ちゃんとあなた本人がそう思えてずっと後悔していくんなら問題はないんじゃない？
That'd just be cheating my way out, though.
シキ、人間の中にはね、どんなに世の中を恨んでいても悪魔に魂を売れない人がいるわ。例えば 吸血鬼相手にごめんなさいなんて言える正直者とかね。だから大丈夫。誰が何て言ったってシキ本人がそうじゃないって言い切ったってシキはまだそっち側の世界にいられるよ。
I'm at a loss for words. How can she say such kind, reassuring words to the man who murdered her?
ほら、そんなことより私たちにはもっと厄介な問題があるでしょ。シキの目も覚めたんだし、今後のことを話し合いたいんだけど。
No! It's like someone flipped a switch. One moment, Arcuate is cheerfully chattering away, and the next, she's on the ground.
アルクエイド
I rushed to her side.
参ったな。やっぱりまだ無理みたい。
Her breathing is labored, and beads of sweat glisten across her brow. My eyes wander to her abdomen, where the slightest trace of red has started to seep through her white sweater.
お前この傷
That's the one she incurred while protecting me in the
頭
hotel.
部に裂かれたところね。シキにやられたせいで治りが遅くなってるだけよ。とりあえず傷口だけは塞いでおいたんだけど、あんまり効果はなかったみたい。
Her tone is still cheery as ever, but I notice an undercurrent of pain shuddering around the edges. Yeah, she pretty much is on low battery. Having to regenerate after what Shiki did. Yeah, having to regenerate after what Shiki did probably took her down from, like 90 to 10%.
塞いでおいたって。
それ。
Arcuate gestures at a brown object dropped haphazardly on the wooden floor. At a glance, I mistake it for a small ring cake, but upon closer inspection, I realize it's packing tape.
バカも休み休みにしろガムテープで傷口を縛るやつがどこにいるってんだ
She used
あ
packing.
んまり人のことバカバカ連呼しないでよ。
She used packing tape to close up her wound. You know, for someone as seemingly smart and insightful as Arcuate, she can actually be a bit dumb.
なんだか本当にそうなのかなって考えちゃうじゃない。
I actually start
うる
believing.
さいいいから傷口を見せろ
I reach out a hand to lift her shirt, and Arcuate quickly steps away from me, dropping backwards onto the bed with a soft thud.
ふざけるな傷口が開いたらどうするつもりだ
いいよ、こんなの放っておいたって。シキこそバカな真似はやめてよね。女の子の服を剥ごうなんて人よりたちが悪いわよ。
あのな俺はお前を人間として見てないんだから男も女もないだろほらいいからおとなしくしてろ俺をかばった傷で死なれたら一生負い目ができちまう
Arcuate pouts and glares at me for a moment, but ultimately rolls over the bed in my direction. Her lips still firmly shut, she gets back on her feet with childlike reluctance. She's sulking about it, but it looks like she'll at least let me take a look.
どんな
Hang on. After seeing this, I'm inspired to do an eye twitch, to try to make an eye twitch animation. Yeah, I guess she's always relied so much on her own healing factor that she doesn't understand proper medical treatment. Like, gosh, that's horrible. Arcuate lifts her sweater to reveal her abdomen.
But
I have to resist the urge to go on. Okay, that was weird. What? weird. I just got... Okay, yeah, that's weird. I just got randomly disconnected. Disconnected and then reconnected. My Wi-Fi is still up. Okay, seems like everything's good now. The tape is tightly wrapped around not just her wound, but her entire abdomen. The second she lowers her shirt again, I pull Arcuate up into my arms.
何するのよ、シキ。
ベッドに寝かすんだよ。病院に連れて行きたいのは山々だけど、そういうわけにはいかないだろう。
Yep. It was probably my... I had to pay my internet bill today. It's probably my ISP getting a little annoyed at me for paying it at almost the last minute. I place her back onto the bed as gently as I can.
いいか、俺が戻ってくるまで絶対に動き回るなよ。さっきみたいに歩き回ったら、お前のことなんて忘れてさっさと逃げるからな。
Shiki is an angry medic. I quickly scanned the room. Not a first aid kit or even a bandage in sight. Guess you don't need any of that when you can revive whenever you want to. Heck, this might be the first time she's ever needed medical treatment. I feel around to check how much I have on me. 2,000 yen in cash. Not a lot.
見栄を張ってる場合じゃない。アルクエド、お前金持ちだって言ったよな。
うん。お金には不自由してないけど、それが何よ。
現金でもカードでもとにかく貸してくれ。手当に必要なものを買い込んでくる。お前に効果があるかどうかはわからないけど、最低限の手当ぐらいしよう。
いいけど、無駄かもしれないよ。
Well, I mean, it would probably do a little bit of good because at least she seems to be at least like mostly like physiologically human. You know, aside from the obvious supernatural and magical stuff, but still otherwise like pretty much identical to human.
無駄でもやるんだ。そのまま放っておけるもんか。
わかった。私も体の作りそのものはシキたちと同じなんだし、それなりに意味はあるかもしれないし。
Hey, I guessed correctly. So it kind of reminds me of how, like, Superman, despite being an alien, also has next to identical physiology to a human. Arcade holds out a wad of 10,000 yen bills in front of me. I'm not even going to ask where she pulled this stack of bills
お
from.
前は黙って横になってろ。あ、でも眠っちゃダメだからな。横になってもちゃんと起きてるんだぞ。
シキ、すごく無茶な注文してるよ、それ。
無茶だけどやれ。眠ると体の機能は低下する。免疫力とか抵抗力な。なんで、傷が塞がっていないまま寝ると、ますます悪化するんだそうだ。睡眠で回復するのは頭の疲れだけで、傷や病気は治してくれないだろう。だから、とりあえず手当てをするまでは起きていた方がいい。
Well, sleeping does help improve your immune system, and does help with some illnesses. But with a major wound like that, yeah, Arcuate definitely shouldn't be sleeping.
へえ。うん、それってその通りよ。
あのさ、なんで笑うんだよ、そこで。
だって、シキが頼りになるんだもん。
She must have a screw loose somewhere. But I keep from saying anything. I need to get back to the job at hand. Look, Shiki, I'm pretty sure this has something to do with that mental spiral she went through after you killed her. I leave her bedroom and remove my bloodstained jacket before I head out. Time to go shopping. Wait, what? Something in the kitchen catches my eye as I head for the exit.
飯
Is that food? Sitting on the table is a meal, or rather a plate of food. Maybe a mishmash of ingredients would be more accurate. At the very least, I think it was something that was supposed to resemble food. This must be why Arcuade was in the kitchen earlier. She said she normally doesn't eat anything, so I don't exactly need to guess who she was preparing all this food for.
あもう
Seriously, what does she think? She's trying to be hospitable, Shiki. Do you not understand what hospitality means? I'm annoyed. I can't stay here a second longer. I dash into town hoping to find something that'll help her heal. We don't really see the wound, so I can't really give much advice there, but it's probably, given how much bandaging she did, it was probably like a pretty significant lash across her belly. So first would probably be, well, given that it was from the slashing, first thing would probably be still to just flush the wound with cleaner sterile water. Then given the size of the wound, it would probably be a good idea to stitch it, or for some stitching and significant painkillers, and then heavily using proper bandages. Maybe stuff the wound a little bit to help reduce bleeding. Actually, no. If you're stitching it, you probably don't want to stuff it. In which case, you should stitch it some. Actually, I probably should. Actually, I'm not a doctor, so I shouldn't be giving advice like that. I'm just thinking. That's just kind of like my line of thought. But ironically, one thing you don't want to do is use something like hydrogen peroxide, because that will just actually you'll just want to use like clean water, because if you use like hydrogen peroxide to clean a wound, it actually causes the wound to heal slower, because it doesn't just kill the bacterial cells inside the wound, it'll actually kill the You should not trust me when it comes to medical knowledge. I may have taken like an anatomy and physiology course, but I am not a doctor. Please don't trust me when it comes to pertinent medical knowledge. I'm just spouting off on a tangent. At least that was my intention, but it's not like I've ever given first aid before. I'll just buy whatever supplies come to mind. Disinfectant, gauze, bandages, and painkillers. Oh, and better pick up something nutritious too. Can't really go wrong with that. Thankfully, I'm not short on money. Might be my inexperience speaking, but it's better to buy too much than too little. It's not like I know what'll actually work on Arcuade. With that philosophy in mind, I end up buying every single thing I can think of. This is probably one of those moments. This is probably one of those moments where Akia is wishing she had a phone. I ignore her carefree giggles and protests, and instead try to apply the gauze as delicately as I can. The wound isn't that big. No, it may not be big, but it's at least 4 centimeters deep. Ooh, yeah, that's a pretty... Yeah. It's like a nearly 2 inch... It's like a... about 1.5 inches or so. 1.5 inches to... like... Yeah, about 1.5 inches. 1 3/4 inch. Yeah, that'd be a pretty awful wound. A laceration across the abdomen like this would be fatal to any normal human. Yep, that's all she had to say about it. Her organs already healed up somehow. Honestly, that part is freaky, so I don't really want to think about it too hard. Since the bleeding had stopped, all I had needed to do was dress the wound, though the process wasn't as smooth as I hoped it would be. I wasn't sure if disinfectant would do much on a wound as big as this, or if it might actually be counterproductive, but in the end I used some anyway, hoping it would help. I was a little afraid that Arcuade would thrash it about from the antiseptic sting, but she sat through it quietly without so much as flinch. Actually, yeah, this would probably be a good one to use like a styptic on. To help the... or to help stop any bleeding.
今何かしたの?
I'm not sure if she's just thick-headed or indifferent to this kind of thing.
よし。
I apply the gauze to the wound and start neatly wrapping the bandages around it.
ちょっとやめてって。仕切ってばうますぎ。
Arcade's gleeful laughter rings through the room. You don't flinch at all from the antiseptic, but the bandages feel ticklish. I ignore her until I manage to pin the bandages. I've heard that tightening bandages around a wound can stem bleeding, so I give them one final tug for good measure.
もう今のは減点だよ、シキ。
Arcuade is precious. Whew. Looks like I've done all I can for now. Curtains are closed again. I shut them when I returned out of concern for Arcuade.
さて、格好だけはつけてみたけど、どうかな。動けるか、アルクエイド。
ええ、動く分には問題なさそう。中身はまだぐちゃぐちゃのままだから満足には動けないでしょうけど。
そうか。ま、それはそっちの方で何とかしてくれ。俺は切るのが専門で直すのは管轄外だ。
I take a step back and sit myself down against one of the walls.
お疲れさ、もう寝ていいぞ。眠って力が戻ればすぐに治るんだろ。見張っててやるからおとなしく寝ていてくれ。
うんうん、寝ても傷は回復しないわ。シキも言った。私の場合ね、力は純粋な時間経過で回復するものなの。夜になればとりあえず普通に動けるぐらいには回復するわ。
She can tell me she's fine all she wants, but it tugs on my heartstrings to see her suffer like
いい
this.
から眠ってくれ。今のお前、話しているだけで辛そうじゃないか。
そうだけど、せっかく式が起きてるんだもの。眠るのがもったいなくて。
Arcade sits on the bed again. She's in full-on chatty mode.
ったく。
There's no fighting it. I've still got some things I want to know myself anyway, so I guess we might as well talk for a while.
昨日のホテルのことを聞いていいか。
そうね。やっぱりそういう会話になるわよね。私と式の場合。
昨日のあいつ、ブローブとか言っていたけど、あいつは一体何なんだ。吸血鬼なのはわかる。仰々しい服とか、お前よりよっぽどらしかったからな。けど、
Then again, there were those blue flames of his that engulfed the hallway, but burned only humans. That's totally removed from my image of a vampire.
私よりらしいって何をらしいって。でも確かに式の言う通りか。あいつ体も崩れていないし原理も小規模だったし、人間が思い描くオーソドックスな吸血鬼なんでしょう。あの炎の川を覗けばね。
それだ。やっぱりお前から見てもあの火は異常なのか。あいつはお前より強い。
Probably only while she's this badly weakened. If she wasn't weakened, she would absolutely dumpster him. Arcuade heaves a sigh tinged with annoyance.
そりゃあね、誰かさんに殺されてしまった私はあんな二流の人と戦いをするレベルまで落ちてるわよ。 今の私とブローブのスケールを比べるならあっちの方がやや上ってところ。
普段のアルクエイドならなんとか倒せる相手なんだ。
なんとかって普段なら戦いになんてならない。もう誰のおかげでこんな屈辱に耐えていると思ってるの？あんな素になりたての見習い、本当なら睨むだけでぺしゃんこにできるんだ。
Oops, she's angry now. That said, I'm not asking how strong she'd be in a hypothetical situation. I need to know if she's able to defeat that vampire the way things are.
できないわ。今はブローブの方が上だもの。単純な性能で下回っているんだから、無策で戦えば殺されるわ。
A little bit. Yeah, she's being a little pouty. Sorry.
随分きっぱりと言うんだな。さっきはあんなに怒ったくせに。
ただの事実よ。分かりきった話なんだから、予断も希望も挟まないわ。
The impact of her words reverberates through my chest. It seems Arcoid is dead serious when it comes to fighting. Seeing her talk so coolly about death just reminds me that she's a vampire all over again.
まあ、シキの言いたいこともわかるけどね。あの炎は確かに厄介だし、ブローブ本体の力も上手にふさわしいものだし、私に少しでもあいつの知識があれば、多少の戦力差は覆せるんだろうけど。
アルクエイドはあいつを知らないのか？
Yeah, she mentioned that the previous night. How can she not know him? Didn't she come here to kill this Castellan in the first place?
私、吸血鬼知り合ったということは、次の瞬間に殺しているということだもの。今回みたいに顔を合わせたのに別れたなんていうのは特例よ。
でもあいつの方はお前を知ってるようだったけど。
初対面よ。私は吸血鬼たちに知れ渡っているから、あっちが勝手に知っていただけ。他の吸血鬼たちも同様。基本的に私たちに面識はないから。でも名前や素性だけは知っている。歴史を重ね、得意な能力を保有する個体ほど名前が知れ渡るのは当然でしょ。ブローブはその逆。まだ名もつけられていない新参者なんでしょうね。多分祖になって200年ぐらいかな。
またその単語か。
まあ吸血鬼たちの王様みたいなものかな。式には関係のない話よ。
関係あるだろ。要は城主ってやつのことか。あのゾンビたちを操ってる親玉というか。
上司と祖は必ずしも同じ。強力な人ほど上司になりやすいだけで、上司はいわば地方領主みたいなものなの。祖はその上、領主たちを輩出するさらに上の吸血鬼。使徒たちの世界は27の勢力に分けられているの。27の国があると思えばいいわ。その国を統べる、あるいは国そのものとされるのが祖と呼ばれる古い吸血鬼、使徒の頂点に立つ者たちよ。
27 kingdoms and 27 rulers. Makes sense to me. I guess even vampires vie for power just like humans do.
待てよ。それとんでもない相手ってことじゃないか。
まあそうね。ブローブはまだ未熟者だけど、それでもあなたたち人間から見れば災害と変わらない。昨日のホテルもそうよ。あいつは1階から最上階までやってきただけだった。人間なんて殺す気はなかったし、心底どうでもいい存在だった。でもそれだけで人間は死ぬ。あの炎はあいつがいるだけで発生する呪いのようなものだから。
He just has to exist for people to die around him? He doesn't even care about humans. Doesn't that also mean that...
俺たちがホテルに逃げたから起きたことなのか。
ええ、私がいたからブローブはやってきた。
Arcoid confirms my fears. Vlov's presence might have been what killed all those people, but we were the ones responsible for bringing that disaster to their doorstep. be all too easy to blame Arcuate for everything. I'd have every right to do so as a human. She's just a vampire. She doesn't even care about human life. Love and her have that much in common. But then again, who was it that made it so she had to flee and hole up in a hotel somewhere? Who deserves the blame here? The answer is simple. There's only one person responsible for getting these innocent bystanders caught up in Vlov's flames. Only one person is responsible for Arcuate's present state. I'm the person who killed her in the first place.
同じ間違いは繰り返さないで。弱い生き物から消えていくのは当然のことでしょう。彼らが死んだのはいつの間にか自分の身を守れないように進化した人間という種全体の責任。人が人を殺したというのなら確かに人間社会での罪になる。けれどこれは人間と人間外のものに起きた自然淘汰の一環よ。
傲慢って俺が？
ええ、あなたが人間の代表ならそれでもいいけどね。いい？例えば山の話。
Yeah, okay, we're seeing one of the moments showing that even though she's generally rather sweet, she's still pretty divorced from knowing what it means to be a human.
そこには肉食獣たちのコミュニティがあった。彼らの食事には人間も含まれていた。そしてある日、その事実を全く知らない人間たちがやってきて、彼らを残らず自分たちの営みのために全滅させた。この場合、どちらに罪があるというの？人間から身を守れなかった彼ら？それとも…
それは…
Arcuate's parable shakes me out of my self-loathing. It wasn't a fable she made up to comfort me, but one laden with scorn and disdain. The burden of guilt, the weight of life, something I, maybe humanity in general, are overly concerned by. I understand what she's trying to say. In her story, neither the humans nor the beasts carry any sin. What happened was simply nature, the way of the world. The only fault lies with the species unable to ensure their own survival. The human world. But this is the human world. A human city. This isn't a matter of humans being too weak or vampires being too strong. The city is a place where weaker humans can congregate for shelter and protection, to be stronger together. So it's fair for me to question my own responsibility in bringing a vampire into that sanctuary.
そう。あなたは確かに殺人鬼にはなれない人ね。
なんだ俺が甘い？
それ以前の問題。シキ、あなたはこれからどうするの？吸血鬼と戦う？それとも逃げる？好きな方を選んで。私はもう強制はしない。見張り役の約束は昨日一日で完了よ。
She's asking me what I plan to do next. Isn't that already obvious?
でも覚悟をして。吸血鬼と戦うということは人間の枠から外れるということ。あなたたちがどれだけ犠牲になってもそれを自分とは関係のないことだと思えなければあなたは必ず破綻する。それが間違っていると思うのなら昨日までのあなたに戻りなさい。それが人間という種の一番正しいあり方だから。
Arcuate's sharp gaze pierces right through me. I know what I should do. If I want any chance of living a normal human life, I should run. Out of all my options, distancing myself holds the best outcome for me. But what about Arcuate? What's best for her? No, I shouldn't be thinking about her. I should be putting myself first. If I stick around here with her, I'll undoubtedly run into that monster again. He was out of this world, not just as a vampire, not just because of his flames. His very eyes were void of normality. The deadened stare, bereft of emotion, cold to all things, a creature who cares nothing for the lives of humans or even those of his vampire brethren. There's no way I could face him again. Having nearly been killed once already, I know that fact in my very bones. I've got to refuse. I have every reason to. No matter which way I look at it, this entire situation is way out of my league.
アルクエイド。
Is that really the right thing to do? I'd be abandoning Arcuate. Arcuate, the woman who's weak and unable to even move around properly, all because of me.
俺は
I'm just running away. Running away from the monster that mercilessly burned his countless victims alive without so much as a second thought. Can I really pretend that never happened? Forget what I saw and live on as the only human survivor without even a pang of guilt? I'm the only one who could see the lines of death. Someone important once told me I was given these eyes because there might come a time when I need them. So the answer is obvious. I might not be able to rid myself of my doubts and fears. I'm not even sure I'll be able to make a meaningful contribution. But what I am sure of is that I want to do something.
四季
アルクエイド、お前の話は俺には分からない。どんなに相手が違う生き物だとしても、どんなに俺が無力だとしても、責任は同じなんだ。だから今さら自分だけ逃げるなんて。
I sigh deeply and stare up at the ceiling. There we go. At least my resolve is finally rock solid.
吸血鬼を倒す。それがあのホテルにいて自分だけ生き残った俺が取るべき責任なんだと思う。
My affirmation is just as much for myself as it is for Arcuade. Arcuade sighs, as if blaming herself for my decision.
そっか。じゃあ私は何も言わない。四季が一緒に戦ってくれるのは助かるしね。あなたならブローブなんて問題なく一撃で殺せるんだから。
いや、それは無理だろ。あいつの周り熱くて近づけないんだから。それ以前にどうやってあいつを見つけるんだ？
見つけるって、四季ってほんと極端なのね。
なんとなくそう思っただけだ。極端の化身みたいなお前に言われたくない。
私は効率重視なだけよ。まあいいわ。言っておくけど、ここからは持久戦だから。一番確実な戦法は、私の体力が戻りきるまで逃げること。あと3日もすれば、私の規模は3割ぐらいまで回復する。
3日？いや、でも。
ええ。その3日間、ブローブは野放しよ。あいつは地下に潜って人間から血液を補充する。それだけじゃない。あの様子からすると、夜の街を徘徊するかもしれない。あいつ、正気が欠けていたし、姿を隠さないと教会に狙われる、なんてセオリー、頭にないのかもね。
それはダメだ。あいつはいるだけで炎をまき散らす怪物なんだぞ。一日だって放っておけるか。
なら昼間のうちにブローブを見つけて殺すしかない。でもそれには反対よ。大まかな場所は目星がつくけど、睡眠中の人ほど用心深いものはないわ。
そんな、奴の居場所に目星がついてるのにむざむざ見逃すっていうのか。
ええ、言ったでしょ。人間が何人ブローブの餌食になろうと、私には関係のない話だって。
I get where I get where both of them are coming from. Shiki obviously wants to end this before any more people get hurt, but Arcade is thinking more realistically, or is thinking about this from a more, I guess, pragmatic view of things. Like, it's not that she wants him to stay alive longer, it's just that if they go now, they're putting themselves at a lot higher risk of getting killed. And if they get killed because they jump the gun, then that just lets Vlav have free reign over the entire city. At least until the church susses him out. And a lot more people will die with she and Chicky get killed. I swallow hard. I understand what she's saying. If we're to play it safe or even stand a chance at all, then it's better to wait for Arcade to recover from her wounds and regain her strength first. But on the other hand, the more time we waste here, the more victims will fall right into Vlov's hands. Oh, oh, oh. Save time. I'm not. Yeah. My heart says we can't allow Flop to remain on the loose for another second. But that would be reckless. What was I even thinking? That I could just go out there, find him, and kill him myself? That was just a scenario conjured up by my guilty conscience to tempt me into escaping reality. I need to keep a cool, level head. If I really want to defeat that vampire, and if I really want to reduce the number of casualties, then we have to stick it out for now. But even so, 3 days feels like a lifetime.
アルクエイド、俺が見張りをする義務は昨日で終わりって言ったよな。
言ったけど、何よ、やっぱり怖くなった？
いや、そうじゃないんだ。ここからは義務じゃなくて協力になるなら、俺の頼みも聞いてほしい。
Yeah, he might have an absolutely busted ability, but I mean, he still needs to get within knife range of Blob. If he doesn't get within that close a range to him, he's not going to be able to slash a line of death.
俺はお前の言う通りにする。お前の指示に従う。盾は無理でもナイフぐらいはこなしてみせる。だからその代わり。
その代わり
？3日は待てない。今夜奴を誘い出そう。
あなた本気
Arcuate peers at me skeptically, as if she's asking me whether or not I have a death wish. I'm well aware it's dangerous, but I'm not planning to back down from this either.
冗談でこんなこと言い出せるか。俺だって死にたくない。だから聞かせてくれ。今夜まで休んだお前と俺の目でグローブは倒せるか。
The only one capable of making that judgment is Arcuate herself. If she says it can be done, I'll wager everything I have on those odds.
そうね。四季が私の言う通りに動いてくれるなら、私たちの方が強いかな。でもそれでいいの？3日待った方が安全だよ。
わかってる。でもこれが俺のギリギリの許容範囲なんだ。それ以上は精神が持たない。
Yeah, there's not much he can do by himself.
まあそれならいいけど。
He'd get incinerated.
正直に言えば3日間逃げ切れる可能性も低かったし。じゃあ今から路線変更、作戦会議ね。指揮はどこで戦いたいの？
I'm genuinely shocked at how easily she let me have my way. I was expecting a lot more pushback after seeing how serious she can get about battle.
それならいいって言ったでしょ。私が3日間逃げ切れるのか、今夜私たちでブローブを殺すのか、どちらも同じ成功率だもの。違うのはあなたの生存確率だけよ。
Oh yeah, because if they have to run around for 3 days, then it's much more likely that Vlad might get the opportunity to kill them. While if they confront him tonight, they have a much higher chance of losing during the fight. This also means that Vlad has this also means that they could lure Vlad into a place of their own choosing and actually, well, ambush him.
そっか。
私としてはおすすめできないけど、ほんと指揮ってわかんない。
I understand that my selfish request will make it hard to defeat Vlad with certainty, so I wasn't surprised that Arcuate looked a little dismayed by it. After all, she's all about efficiency. But I was surprised that she didn't reject it outright. I'm not sure if she did it to respect my feelings or if she just figured it didn't have much of an impact on her overall odds. By the way, I'm glad she agreed to side with me.
じゃ、ちょっと小休止ね。お腹減ってるでしょ、指揮。さっきのおかわりいる？
いや、自分で作るから。 冷蔵庫の食材だけ好きに使わせていただきます。
I feel bad for not trying it, but I don't possess the fortitude to stomach whatever heaping of ingredients Arcuate slapped together on a plate. Maybe if I were in peak condition. No, not even then. Vlav is already plenty dangerous. If a confrontation with him is inevitable, I'd be better off avoiding Arcuate's lethal cooking at the very least. I quickly cook up a simple meal before returning to talk to Arcade. We've outlined a rough plan, now we just need to refine it. The main issue is the fire. Unless we manage to do something about that, neither Arcade nor I will be able to get close enough.
やっぱり奇襲しかないよな。あいつはお前が目的っぽかったし、アルクエイドにはおとりになってもらってブローブをおびき寄せる。
Arcade draws aggro. Shiki backstabs Vlav.
俺は事前に隠れていて、あいつがお前に気を向けている隙に背後から襲いかかるとか。
It's a sloppy plan, but it's not like it can think of anything better. Though it still doesn't solve the problem of the fire.
基本はその流れでいいと思う。私がおとり、指揮がとどめ。指揮ならブローブがどれだけ命のリザーブを持っていても関係ないしね。
他にも問題はあるぞ。俺はともかく、お前はあいつと正面から向き合うんだ。あの手みたいな炎はどうするんだ。
それは問題じゃないよ。
Yep, pretty much. That's actually what I was thinking, like the spy's backstab.
一度受けてみてブローブの炎は3000度程度って分かったし、今から体を耐熱仕様に作り直しておけば耐えられるわ。
Only around 3,000 degrees Celsius. Hang on. Let me check real quick. Temperature of the surface of the sun. Okay. Okay, so, that would be about... Okay, it's about a half as... It's about half of, It's about half as hot as the surface of the sun, but that's still pretty hot. So that would be like getting hit with a lightning strike. And the funniest part is she would just straight up, she wouldn't even be hurt by that if seems like she wouldn't even be hurt by it if she wasn't at such low power. Only around 3,000 degrees? I'm pretty sure even rocks start melting at that point. Nah, I'd win.
周囲の炎はもっと簡単。あれは地表にかかっているだけの軽度の汚染だから、式が物陰から出るとき、ちょっと気合を出して吹き飛ばしてあげる。ホテルの時は式が後ろにいたからできなかったけど。
It'll be a cinch, huh? Almost feels too simple, this slapdash plot of ours, but I should put some faith in the woman who saved me from him the first time.
だいたい決まりね。まず私が餌になってブローブをおびき寄せる。式は事前に隠れておく。それでブローブがやってきたらちょっとだけ戦う。 今夜の私の体力じゃブローブは倒しきれないけど、周囲の炎を消し飛ばして動きを抑えることならできる。
動きを抑えるって具体的には？まさかお前があいつに掴みかかって上から組み伏せるとか？
そんな野蛮なこといたしません。直接組み伏せるとか無駄すぎるし、今まで一度もしたことないし、する必要性が感じられないし。
そうか。じゃあどうやってブローブを抑え込むんだ？
We break his legs.
場所によるけど、基本的には鎖かな。
Arms off base.
鎖？鎖ってあの鎖か？
ええ、ほらこんな風に。
What? A pair of chains just clamped shut around my wrists. Where did these things even come from?
空中の元素を固定化したものよ。私、その形はイメージしやすくて相性いいの。強度は今なら1本あたり100トンぐらいまでかな。とにかく何十本と重ね掛けするから動きだけなら封じられる。
Maybe 100 tons each. Wait a sec, she's probably even also saying metric tons, so that's a little bit... 100 okay, assuming they're referring to metric tons here. That is, each chain can hold 220,462 pounds and about a quarter pounds. She's that weakened, and yet she can still casually warp reality to make chains that could... Wait. Phew. Oh my gosh. Hitting him with a few dozen of them at once. So, yeah, assuming 36, that is, that is almost 8 million. Yeah, a few dozen of them, assume a few dozen of them, so... Assuming she's talking like 36 of them, that's like almost 8 million pounds that they could carry.
鎖の拘束は手足をメインにして胴体と頭は控えめにするから、指揮はブローブの胴体の死を切ればいい。
わかったから、これ解いてくれ。取れる。ブローブの前に俺の両手が。
The chains dissolve into thin air, disappearing just as quickly as they appeared. And here we've got yet another example of how ridiculously overpowered our Arcade is. But if she can call these chains in and out of existence, then she should also be able to tie down Vlav.
とにかく
Yeah, just imagine how stupidly strong she is when she isn't on the verge of... Or when she isn't at, like, at best, 1 to 5% power.
私は戦いになったら隙を見て縄状のものでブローブの手足を縛る。完全に動きを封じられるのは10秒ぐらいだから、 そうしたら式は物陰から飛び出して正面からまっすぐ最短でブローブの線を立てばいい。大丈夫、式の腕ならあっけないぐらい簡単に殺せるわ。
正面からって。
Arcade says it like it's nothing, but I don't feel quite as confident.
いや、経験していないことを目算に入れるのはやめよう。
Yeah, Shiki. Maybe she could just one-shot him with absolute ease if you didn't happen to do something.
やっぱりさ、俺がなんとか背後から近づいてあいつの手足の線を切るよ。
And that way, Arcade wouldn't even have to fight him. I'd like to save any fighting for if my ambush fails. I'll look at Arcade to see if she approves of my plan.
式、それじゃああなたは死ぬわ。
え？
これはどう行動すれば安全なのかの、どうすれば死なないのかじゃなくて、どうやって殺すかの話でしょ。
それはそうだけど。
あなたはこれから吸血鬼を相手にするのよ。なら今夜だけでも人間の道徳観念は捨てて、そんな荷物を持っているといざという時に体が重くなるだけだから。
Oh, you are fighting a vampire. No sense in treating it to any sort of honor.
それぐらい分かってる。相手が化け物だから俺だって手伝う気になったんだ。
いえ、式は分かっていない。手足を切る？やめてよ、そんな自殺行為。手足を切る暇があるのならまず命を切りなさい。他の生き物ならともかく、あなたにだけはそれができるんだから。
Yeah, good point. Besides, if he cut his limbs first, then that'll give him just enough of a window to, or given how strong he is, even with how destructive your mystic eyes are, then, well, he's going to have way more than enough time to react and cut you in half.
いい？ブローブには反撃の機会を与えないこと。式の利点は相手に正体が知られていないことだけなんだから。
Arcade leaves me with no room for objection. Her crimson eyes says it all. She's telling me that if I miss my first shot, there will be no second chances. And she has a point. Every second I waste cutting through his limbs is another second during which he can engulf my body in flames and burn it to a crisp.
ブローブは夜になればやってくる。その時に私たち、いえ、私と式であいつをこれ以上ないっていう形で殺すの。どう生き延びるかじゃない、どう殺すのか、それだけを考えなさい。
Her gaze is fierce with disapproval. She's really angry. Angry at the fact that I'm still being so naive about all of this.
分かった。俺はためらわない。一息で奴の線を全部切る。それでいいんだろう、アルクエイド。
The ferocity in her gaze doesn't dim for a second. At least her silence suggests that she approves of my new attitude.
でもどこで待ち受けようか。このマンションじゃホテルの時と変わらない。人気がなくて俺が隠れられるようなところは。
この町の中央公園が最適よ。深夜になれば人通りはないんだし。それでも通りかかってしまう人がいたのなら、それは純粋にその人に運がなかっただけの話でしょ。
Arcade looks away and turns her back to me as she speaks.
なんだよ。言いたいことがあるなら言えよ。
無理よ。結局式は一度も殺すと口にしてくれない。このままだと最後の瞬間であなたはきっとためらう。
そんなことあるもんか。相手は100人以上の人間を殺した化け物だ。殺すことにためらいなんて。
Arcade sighs softly.
式を魔眼で魅了してしまえば確実にブローブを仕留められるのにね。どうしてかな。初めてそういう気になったのに、初めてそうするのが嫌になっちゃった。なんか すごい矛盾。四季を信じるわ。二人でブローブを倒しましょう。
In a flash, her grim tone takes on its usual upbeat lift again. Oh wait, tilt. Her eyes seemed filled with trust, yet I could see concern creeping into her smile. Okay, I think that's... Okay, I think this is a good cliffhanger to hang... I think this is a good cliffhanger for next time. Because... Which will be Monday, because the usual thing I do on Monday nights is off this week, so I can I can use that time slot for more Tsukihime. This game is really brutal, but I'm loving it so far. Like it is really really good. Like a bit of a slow start, but yeah, a bit of a slow start, but like the second it got going really, really, really fast. But yeah, I'm going. This is where we're gonna call it for tonight, and I and thanks for stopping by. I'll see you on Monday. Take care.